We need all the mental health personnel.
Well, I think I'm on the wrong end of that mental health meeting.
Please enter your participant or moderator code followed by the pound key. Please say your name followed by the pound key. You are the first participant in the conference.
We need to get a recording of the Jeopardy theme. We'll wait for the last couple minutes to tick off before we can start.
You can just hum it.
Yeah, my humming's just about as good as my singing.
Yeah. 9 o'clock, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda as presented.
I'll second
A motion by Derby, seconded by Jensel to approve the minutes and agenda. All in favor say aye.
it.
Aye.
Motion passed. 9 a.m. Mike Hangstead has requested to be on the agenda. Landowner to discuss Hogsback shooting range. Would you like to tell us your concerns, Mike?
Just that, I don't know, we were supposed to have a set of rules put in, but me and Kendra went through like in May of last year to have, and they decided to go 9 to 7 for their times. And it hasn't been adhered to for pretty much both summers.
And when was that put in place?
July 1st of last year.
So people are shooting after hours,
Yes. Before and after.
before and after. Okay.
And it's not really being policed, I feel.
Mhm. Just for everybody's knowledge, are there gates on this to?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen photographs of of how it's set up or not.
Yeah, I've actually.
You have.
I've
so
been
I
in
think,
there. Yeah.
And I know these guys have seen it. And I don't know about Bill and excuse me. Yeah. This is what you see when you go up there, Bill. That's in. You've been to the range?
I've been
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are
not in a few years.
Okay. Well, then this is also what you see when you get, and it's just pictures of with the 7 p.m. right on. We did that in the beginning of the summer, or middle of the summer, I suppose. So as far as the signage, there's really no excuse for not being able to know when the times are when you get there. And I know Mike and I, we've talked throughout this year. Yeah, July 1st last year is when we changed the time from sunrise to sunset to 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. or sunset, whichever is first. This time of the year, we leave those signs up that say it closes at 7, so that people don't have to think about the sunset part, because sunset is after 7 until this week, which will change. I checked with the sheriff's department just to see what their log looked like from 1st to 4th of June. And from the 4th of June till today, they've had 8 calls. So, and of course, maybe they're not getting a call every time there's a late shooter. So we also have trail cameras up there. We have 3 trail cameras, and in the last 25 days, they've taken 4,000 pictures, over 4,500 pictures on 3 cameras. And the after hours incidents on the cameras jived with what the sheriff's department had for calls. Prior to September 4th. Since September 4th, there have been no calls.
Julie has joined.
No calls to the sheriff's department, and our cameras were showing that people were not there shooting. They might have been there, might have been picking up brass or doing other things, but from what we can see on the cameras, of course we don't have sound in that, but they have not been there shooting after hours this past month. And the previous camera photos we took from prior to September 1st kind of jived with the calls that the sheriff got, those 7 calls that they received. And in many cases, the sheriff's office would call me, and then I would maybe get a message from Mike about the same time or a few minutes before or after. And they always ask, the sheriff, their protocol is, do you want somebody to dispatch to the site? And I said, if they're available, yeah, absolutely. And I've gone up there on most of those instances, except for maybe several. I was out of state on September 4th, and I was sick on one of the other days, so I didn't go, but the sheriff's office did go. And the times that I've gone, normally the sheriff would beat me there, and they would have those individuals, they'd be talking to them, and I'd say, well, did you see them shooting? And in every instance that I was there and talking to them, they said, no, they were standing here by the gate or by their car. And we've warned them, we've ran all of their license plates and their driver's licenses, and we put them in the log, and if they get caught doing this again, they're going to get cited. As far as I know, they haven't cited anybody. And we also have not had any return offenders from what the sheriff's log is showing us. So people are getting educated.
So who's using it?
Who's using it? We estimate we could probably have somewhere around a couple thousand people going through there. Everybody, we have people from Lake Mills, Forest City, Garner, all the surrounding communities, Albert Lee, Mason City. I've had calls from people from out of state or other parts of the state that said they're coming through the area. They know we have a range. They're going to meet somebody. Can I shoot there? I had a call yesterday afternoon from a gentleman from Mason City. So the offenders, the after hours people aren't just from one particular location or another. We've had Lake Mills. I've had Albert Lee. We've had somebody from Forest City. It was one morning shooting early. In several cases, when the dispatch has been able to get the license plate and then a phone number, I've been able to find their phone number. I've been able to call them at the range and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "The sheriff's going to be there. They're on their way right now," which they're pulling in any minute.
So you can see the license plates from your camera site?
If they park by the gate, we can see not every one of them you can't see, but you can often get a description of the individual. I can see what's written on their T-shirts. We've also gone on to Facebook and posted pictures of vehicles and said, "Hey, this vehicle is here after hours." It wasn't that we're trying to track them down necessarily, but we want that person to know that the law enforcement knows who they are, and just to get the word out. And the individuals that the sheriff has contacted are usually pretty contrite and apologetic. And I go up there and I say, "Hey guys, all you're doing is making this easier for this thing to get shut down if you keep coming in here after hours." And they're like, "We don't want that to happen." And that's why I think we don't get the repeat offenders, and we, tell them, spread the word. And like I said, I've told the deputies that if they want to cite somebody, if they can prove that they're shooting after hours, absolutely do it. And so that's, I
Do you
guess,
think,
in a
do you think
nutshell.
it's possible to get more coordination to where the sheriff's office could be there at, around closing time?
I suppose it depends on, I know we have a deputy in Lake Mills, Smooters in Lake Mills, so that's why oftentimes he's in the area, but possibly. I also talked to the conservation officer, Harrison, yesterday, and he said he has started to come that direction more often. He works both Winnebago and Worth County. And now as we're getting closer to the hunting season, more guys are gonna be sighting in their guns. And he said the people that he's ran into in more recent times, he said that they're picking up brass, which is almost a daily thing. There's somebody up there about every night picking up spent shells. Tends to be kind of the same people. We have a volunteer that goes up there as well and picks up brass and also empties our trash for us about once a week. We have somebody who goes in there and mows for us every couple of weeks. Then we're there at least one day every week. Somebody is there maintaining the range, whether it's emptying trash or changing out the sign, the target, the backstops, whatever kind of work needs to be done. We have one of the ways we can kind of tell where people are coming from besides the camera. We've got a box there that we accept donations, and we get donations every week. That people are donating. Sometimes they'll put on there where they're from, not always, but and that helps support the cost of the range. But, as we're getting now into this time of year, I'm happy to go up there. And there's other times that I go up there. Let's say we've had somebody shot after hours earlier this summer. Mike's maybe messaged me. I'll go up there the next 2 nights in a row and nobody shows up. Of course, they're not there when I'm there. But and I went up there one night and there was a couple guys from Forest City, a couple young guys, and they were just picking up and leaving at 7 o'clock. So they were doing. Most people are doing what they're supposed to do, based on the sheer numbers of people we get going through there.
That's it. I mean, it's sure there's a lot of people,
But there's a lot of people, and when that one person stays there and at night and shoots after hours, Mike's going to hear it, and they're all going to hear it, and they know it. They look at their watch and they see it's after hours. So that's why when we do interact with people, we say, hey, abide by the rules, and this thing will operate the way it's supposed to. And if you can't, then it's going to be a problem for everybody.
How do the hours change now?
They'll change. It'll go to sunset. So we'll post the sunset times, so it's very easy to see that that, like if you're a deer hunter, you can hunt till sunset or half an hour after sunset. It's up to you to be responsible enough to look at the time and say it's sunset now. If I shoot something after that, I've violated the law, and it would do the same thing up there. But I know that I just kind of foresee that individuals, and without a little extra reminding, that they're not going to look at the chart that's attached right there to the bench that they're shooting off of. But our backstops, we're going to switch them now. It'll say 9 a.m. to sunset. So, and there's no question that what the regulation is. You've got to look at the time chart and see that it changes every day or so.
So Robert, can you, if you're going to change out that signage anyway, is there any way you can put additional on there that says violators will be fined or something?
More like we do with trails and stuff, where you say, use it properly or lose it.
Well, and that's already said. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, that's what the
You're talking about
backstops.
Like he's talking about 9/4. I got text right here to him that 9/11 there was somebody shooting out there. I mean, so I don't know if their camera's not getting them all the time, because I have one right here that I sent.
Yeah, I mean, it's not 100%.
Yeah.
And
No, I
after
wouldn't.
9/4, that road's ripped up. So, I mean, it has decreased because they're doing road work right now, which has helped a lot. And the problem is like the calls that come in to the sheriff's department, those are made by us. Like, we physically hear them shoot, and then we have to drive down there, which I'm sorry is really awkward when people are driving or like shooting down there, and you're like, well, I gotta drive down there and get a picture of their plates, because every time you call it in, the deputy wants the plate number, and it's like, well, you feel real comfortable driving down there taking pictures of plates when people are shooting? I mean, most of them are very nice,
Not all.
honest people, not all, but some of them are, but you just don't know when you're driving
So-
down there, and a lot of times, it's a hassle to have to get in your car, drive down there, so then you just sit and grit your teeth and hope that they'll stop. So,
And we're self-policing, basically.
Well, and
So
I
my-
personally haven't called either the sheriff or the game warden since last summer because the several times that I did, they were not receptive to receive my phone calls. I was told the one time, I'm more than an hour away, I've worked all day, I really don't care to come down there. Call the sheriff's office. Call the sheriff's office, and they don't want to hear about it either. So it's just very defeating when you can't even call the people that the sign says you should call and have that kind of an attitude,
Say,
One
Mike
time I
was-
even had the phone so that I said, you can hear this, can't you? I mean, it's after 7:00 PM.
That's actually in the log, that they will indicate if they can hear shoot, or, yeah, they're listening to, they're writing down what you're saying.
But
Not
I
doing it.
personally feel like, why am I wasting my time because of the attitude they've shown me when I have tried to call, which is what you're supposed to do.
Mike was the 11th, the last time. So, I mean, since the beginning of September, then that's the only, that's not on the camera. Like I said, can't see 100% of what's going on.
But we can hear it 100% of the time when we're
Sure.
home.
But there has been road work, so that's.
Yes,
yeah,
it's,
and it's not that I don't appreciate like the signs and stuff, it's helped a lot, and so grateful when you guys do go down there, it's really nice, and thank you, because I know it's a pain, it's just, for us, having to police it all the time is exhausting. Like, that's the hard part, it's not your guys' fault that people don't read the signs and listen, that's not what we're saying, it's just hard when we're the ones that, in the end, become responsible to have to police it, then you're the bad guy, I mean, we don't want it, people need places to sight their guns in and stuff, we just want just like an hour or so of daylight where it's quiet, and that's it, and it's just a pain to have to be the ones that have to be the bad guys and like call it in and do all that stuff all the time. And I don't know how you fix it, but.
Yeah, that's my question, how do we fix it?
can we put some gates up there? That's what I've always.
Are
said.
the gates opened and closed by somebody every day?
No, the gate is inside the driveway. It's a gate that
So could
prevents
the
people.
gate be at the driveway on the
But
highway?
if you're not observing the regulations of a gate that's there now, why are you gonna pay attention to the gate being further out?
Because they can't park there
Yeah,
Yeah,
anymore.
they'd have to park on the
Well, we
road.
They have to park on the highway and then somebody would actually respond to that.
And Officer Harrison told me once that if there's gates that are locked and somebody bypasses the gates after hours, then it becomes a trespassing issue, and then they get banned from all state parks
this-
for an entire year, and that has a little bit more teeth in it.
This is a wildlife area, so people can public hunt on it, and actually, part of our parking lot is just right up against the DNR's boundary, the state boundary, to the west. So it's a public hunting area, so people can go in there and hunt, within the regulations, whatever times that the regulations say they can. So those aren't the people that are causing the problem, but yeah, I mean, if you're going to ignore a sign, you're going to ignore it whether it's here or 50 feet the other direction.
So you can't put a gate, you mean, you're saying you cannot put a gate up there then?
Cannot, I'm not saying that you cannot, but then who's going to open and close it every day?
Can't you just, what I'm saying is you put a gate up there and say, this gate will, if the after hours are shooting, we will close this gate.
Yeah, and we tell people that the range will shut down if there's after hours.
Well, but
They
they don't care right
Well,
now.
but based on
That-
what you told me, you had one call, you texted at 7-Eleven, there was
I got
one on
many
the
others,
4th.
I got many more in here.
On the 4th. But what our cameras are also showing us is that out of all those thousands of pictures, there's very few people that aren't abiding by the regulations.
But there are people that are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like our parking lot out here. We've got a big sign that says, if you're not a courthouse, on courthouse business, you're gonna get towed or fined. But you know that people are parking in the courthouse parking lot from time to time because they don't see the sign or they ignore it. In our case, they are seeing the sign. They can see it.
But it's not very neighborly. I mean, they're not, you know what
It's
I
a
mean?
nuisance.
Yes,
yeah,
very- it's
to
a
the whole
nuisance.
So
neighborhood.
for me, what I guess I'd like to address is that It's in Winnebago County. Winnebago County is in charge of it. We're servicing a lot larger area than just Winnebago County. People are coming from Mason City, Albert Lee, all over. But yet, Winnebago County residents have concerns. So I think it is a concern. We need to come up with something that's going to, something that's gonna work better than the signage that is out there now. Whether it's a gate or actually issue fines, something.
Enforcement,
Law enforcement,
regular enforcement maybe.
yeah. Carla, do we need to send around a clipboard for this group? No, okay. Okay.
One of the things that we've talked about just amongst our staff is some other counties, there's not a lot of target ranges around the state on county property, but is requiring a person to register when or log in when they get there and log in when they leave. It would require them to sign something that says, I understand what the time is, what the times are and the shooting times, and I agree to abide by them. And if I'm shooting, obviously they're probably not going to write that they've shot after shooting hours. But if they've signed in, and the deputy shows up there, or I show up there, and we know that they've signed in, it just makes them think maybe twice about shooting after hours or before hours, whatever it might be. Again, most of the people are abiding by those rules. It's those few individuals that, like it is in most cases, that cause the problems.
Does that open up another avenue for enforcement when they sign in and sign this thing saying, I understand that?
Well, I can talk to the sheriff's department or the county attorney about that, or the conservation officer, but by signing something that says you agree to abide by, these rules, like I said, I'd have to talk to them and see what they say. But it is just another step to remind that person that, hey, this is the time I can be shooting here, and I am agreeing to it.
Is that gonna help any more that the signs that say that are already there, though? I mean, is that gonna carry any more weight than what's already there?
we'll have a listing of people's names at least then.
And we have on camera as well. That's the
The
other
people that aren't following the rules ain't gonna sign that paper.
No, because they come down from Austin, I've caught them down there in Black Hawk County, because I think the other place is charged, so then this is free, so everybody comes here.
I've heard that, actually, yeah.
Is there any sort of sound barriers that could be put in place?
What proximity are all of you from it?
Within a half mile.
I mean, which directions? I mean,
We're west of it.
East
We
of
got all directions of
Yeah.
east, north, west, straight south over the hill, and I've never called in, and yeah, you could pick a day of the week, and you could just about, if you really actually sat there and listened, you could, I'm sure, in any given week, you could call in if you really knew it was doing something directly south over the hill.
across the marsh.
Yeah.
I basically called most of the neighbors and the ones I could get a hold of. And only one person that I called, one did not respond, and one said they didn't care either way. But pretty much the rest of them said if there's rules, they should be followed. So I mean, it's not just us.
Well, we all want people to follow the rules, and unfortunately, that's why we have a sheriff's department, because there's people in the world that don't follow the rules. And it makes it inconvenient and expensive for the rest of us. It would be expensive to have someone be there to shut the gate every night, unless you get a volunteer.
But I'm saying like,
But,
you don't have to shut the gate every night, but if the rules are being broken, you shut the gate. And say,
yeah,
rule,
but that makes it, that punishes the people that are following the rules.
that's, I mean, that's not my, it's being a nuisance to me. The noise is being,
I'm willing to we could maybe split up amongst our staff, and maybe I can talk to the sheriff's office, but to start this fall, start coming up there, I don't know, on a more of a regular basis, I guess, especially towards the weekend, it seems like it gets, but it varies, you know, it really varies. And just being there at 7 o'clock and making sure they're vacating at 7 o'clock. I mean, it has helped when you would message me, I would take off from my house, but I'm 20 miles away. By the time I get there, many times they were gone. Most times they were gone. But sheriff was able usually to get there quicker than me, and they catch them on the site, but not shooting. So.
And it's not just at night, you know, and then that's hard for you guys too, because lots of times it'll be 6:37 in the morning, especially now that hunting season's starting, it'll be early, but I mean, it's hard for you guys to be there that often, and then you get disheartened because you'll show up 5 times and nobody will be there, and then, you know, it's hard for you to keep going back if that happens, and then all of a sudden we'll have a streak of like 4 days where it's either in the morning or at night.
I mean, I've seen we've had, I think, 2 or 3 calls from morning shooters, and I caught a guy there one morning, this was last year. But again, we're not seeing it with we're not there. If they're not there, I mean, we have one camera that's pointed towards the parking area too. So, you know, when they pull up to the gate or further back, we can see them on camera. Now there are cameras that are, you know, that are activated with you can put them on a cell phone that would, every time the camera trips, it sends a picture to whoever has that cell phone, and we would know the exact time and could potentially see that person. That's another, we've talked about that. But,
The bottom line is, it's been over a year, the rules have been posted, and people continue to violate the rules. And why is that okay?
It's not okay in our world.
So then why aren't we doing something more about it? That's why we're
Well,
here.
but it's either shut it down, you want it to shut down.
If they can't follow the
Because
rules.
if you shut it down, you punish the people that follow the rules.
Well, then maybe they'll tell the
And
people that are
what we
following
need to
the
do
rules
is,
to follow.
is give some people some fines. And, or maybe, probably the easiest solution is to put up a better camera that can get the license plate, that has a time and date on it. So you can prove it was that person sitting there and have it where you can see them shooting too.
Sound.
And sound, have the sound and have it like tripped by, you know, I don't know how expensive they are anymore, but they're getting a lot cheaper than they used to be, the higher tech cameras. And if the sound is going after the hours, then it automatically sends to the sheriff's department, or so they can respond as quickly as possible, and you start finding these people, and that should eliminate some of the problem.
what we do know too is that the people that have been contacted are not the ones that are coming back shooting late. It's individuals that they're I won't say new. I'm saying they've never been there before, but they have not been in contact with the sheriff or myself. So all those folks are not getting reoccurring contact.
You know, this picture here, I mean, you can just show how disrespectful some people are. That looks like that sign has been shot a few times. You know, I mean,
Well, that was after a week of being at the race, so that's a normal.
That's actually on the,
Yeah, that's where you put your targets on that.
that's where you put your targets.
So that's why we put up, we stenciled right on the target.
Oh, it's on the target.
Backstop.
So this was an add-on sign to try to help
Yeah, so there's absolutely no
the
excuse. for us to-
situation that they can't miss it at
Unless
7
you-
PM.
You get that comment from the person, well, I didn't realize it was after 7 yet, or that kind of thing.
So Robert, my concern still, again, is, you know, we're getting people from all outside of the county, and I feel like we need to be concerned about the people that are in the county
Sure.
first, and that would be landowners and around it. So personally, I feel like we really need to come up with some type of a plan, if you can talk to law enforcement and get, you know, have them be out there at 7 o'clock at night, or come up with some type of gate, or
volunteers to go out and
maybe, yeah, maybe some
something.
volunteers that would,
other than these guys, because I know they
Right,
don't want to
right.
have to deal with it either.
What is the citation? I'm sure
I think
none's
it's-
been given out.
I
but-
think it's over, I'm pretty sure it'd be over $100
Okay.
pretty easily, by the time they get court costs and it's.
But maybe we could have that type of signage that says you're on camera.
That actually says you're on camera. We have a
Any
big sign that says, it's the
thing-
biggest sign there, it says you're under camera surveillance. It's on the
But-
gate.
Also say what the fine is for shooting before or after hours on there.
It's kind of like putting up
What's
Jake
the
break
section
signs.
code?
Worse than that. Worse than that.
No,
There is a section, I think, part of it on one of our signs, 350, I think is on there, but
I'm just a little north of Highway 9 in Buffalo Center, out on the edge of town there. And they have a Jake break sign there, and it gets violated all the time. And I'm down in the basement with the TV on it, I can hear them. And I'm a truck driver, or used to be, and I never use my Jake break anywhere near town, or if there's even an acreage as I'm coming up to a sign out in the middle of the country. But the people continue to violate them despite the sign. And they can get tickets for it, but it's just hard to be there right at the time to catch them to give them the ticket. They have the advantage of the element of surprise. It's just the way it is in the criminal world.
Well, in this situation, we know what times are off limits, so it really shouldn't be that difficult.
Well,
Before,
in that sign, it's always off limits, the
Yes.
Jake break sign, so it's,
And don't forget that this time of year, it's not gonna be 7 anymore, it's gonna be sunset.
But they'll, you know,
I think what Mike was saying about the gate, with that idea is that, and we don't want it shut down for people who are following the rules at all, but if you did do it once, like for a few days and be like, this has been shut down because people are past hours, then you might get the people that actually follow the rules policing the ones that don't because they don't want it shut
Well, they're
down.
gonna-
So I mean, that's an idea too, but I know that that's,
if somebody drives out there and the gate's shut because we've had after-hour shooters, they're gonna be mad.
Well, put a sign on the gate that says why it's closed.
well, we do, I've talked to individuals that use it on a regular basis, and this Blake knows that I might know, and they'll say, we're out here at the range, we see somebody doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and usually it's adults that I'm talking to, then they'll tell that person, hey, that's not the way you operate out here, whether it's, they bring in their own, pop cans to shoot at, we don't allow that kind of thing, or whatever they're doing that doesn't follow the rules. Individuals will say to these guys or gals, hey, shape up, that's not how you use the range. So I've had that conversation with a lot of people, not a lot, but individuals that use it that I talk to. So, yeah, kind of peer pressure, putting on them, but it's not ours issues, it's more just the way they're operating while they're there.
We're kind of tight on time right now.
Yeah,
We have a
sorry.
9:30 public hearing, or a timed item, but I'd like to see, can you come up with some solutions to report?
Yeah,
back to
I'll,
us?
we've got a board meeting coming up on the 10th, and yeah, well, we can work on something.
I
see
think
if we can-
it's just cameras, volunteers,
yeah.
more signage, all of the above.
Yeah, the
We have more
signage thing,
people out there.
we pretty much have it pretty well covered with signs. It's hard
Well,
to, you
Wow.
know what I mean?
Have you ever looked into any sound damping stuff, or, is that something that could be?
I don't know what that would be as far as, no, I have not, no. Short of
You could
trees
sit out
and
there on a
shrubs,
sun-
which,
You can sit out there on a Sunday afternoon, and it's nonstop. Usually Sundays is the worst to me. It is nonstop from 9 o'clock in the morning till 7 or
before.
past. Yeah. The noise is terrible. It's awful.
so we do have a 9:30, so Robert, if you could come up with, some plans and then let us know when you're gonna present those to us so that we can let all of these folks, be aware of
yeah.
what
sure.
kind of steps we're gonna try to take.
Yeah, I would, yeah, I'd be happy to.
Okay, and
The only thing I can think of beyond this is, when this was put there, was there any zoning things that were, having, special permitting or anything for zoning?
No, I remember at the time, we talked to the county attorney, the county's insurance underwriter, and that kind of thing. As far as zoning, there was a target range there back in the the early 70s into the 80s. And then in the late 80s, it was completely, pretty much abandoned. And people were shooting out there, but they didn't have any real rhyme or reason how they were shooting, what they were shooting at. It's a mess. So
Melissa,
we shut it down.
Melissa Michaels evidently is listening, she's our economic development person. And she just sent me a link to a camera that has audio, has two-way audio. You can actually tell people to leave over evidently it has a PA system on it. I'll forward it to you and you.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, you know, I mean, I know there's these.
This says, and she says it's not even made in China.
There is actually one that's only sound generated too. So if there's a sound over a certain decibel, it will, because we have that in one of our buildings at the farm. You know, so if there's a loud sound, it will actually, it's from UCTA, and at first it calls me, and if I don't pick up, it calls my son, and if he doesn't pick up, I mean, it'll call a tier of people. So, you know, I think that there's gotta be options out there to help
I would
these folks
encourage
out.
you to think about investing in.
Well, I've looked into these, no, I don't know about this one you're talking about, Bill, but the Tacticam is one brand, and just, one thing, the service right there is not great. I know, does that-
That's true.
Yeah, that is very true.
So, but I can send a picture from the gate there, but not every time, so but I
There's a
definitely, we
booster
look
or
in, I can
something
look
too,
into
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah, the service on the north
Or
side
if
of
it's
the
on-
knob.
if it's up on a pole high enough, maybe it'll get a little better signal too.
Right by that ditch that goes
Yeah, that's
across
a dead
there.
zone.
What's,
Really?
Yeah, down in Dolly Park, you can lose signals.
Well, I think we need to investigate it all and see what we can do.
Appreciate you folks coming in.
All right.
I appreciate you guys.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Spencer Bragg, served at Don and Judy Angus Days.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, we'll talk to you.
All right.
So you live on the east
We're
west.
gonna go to number 7, 9:30 a.m. discussion with possible action regarding the public health building addition. Good morning.
Morning.
Sorry, we're running a little late there, sir.
One subject, all 35 minutes,
Oh my goodness. Wow, it's an intense one.
right up there with drainage.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I think it goes quite that.
They're all shaking hands, so.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, nobody wants what's going on. I mean,
So what do you have for us today?
I put together an agreement for the public health edition. So I guess that's what we're here for, and then to basically get things going overall, if you're ready. Then this is to do an addition at the existing site too. So we talked about on the north side, we talked about could it go on the south, is there another place you wanna go, all of that, so that's what I put this together for.
Okay.
And I tried to call Mark Thoma, and he wasn't there. I think I might have got screwed up with he's got a weird messaging on his phone. I had too many choices, and I might have deleted it because he never called me back.
Oh,
He says, I don't know, if you want to exit, and I think I pushed after I left my message, if you want to exit. Yeah. Might have exited my message too, so I can follow up this week on it. I called him last Friday.
Carla must be printing something for us. Is this the agreement?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Initially indicated they're willing to work with us, but we need to get that more formal.
Right, exactly, yes. Yeah, so you got the soil borings, and then we've also got the survey. You approved that last week, I think it was, so we'll get that started. But then it comes to the legal transfer of the property. Obviously, you know, that if Inkster and Kim needs to do something, the plat survey, then they can do that, but to really build on it, you've gotta have that property in place. Yeah, and I don't know, I mean, obviously, we can design it, we can be ready, and then whenever you're ready to, whenever you have it, then move forward with it, if it takes a while.
Well, I think I have confidence in our verbal agreement to the point where we can probably move forward with this part of it. And we'll just make sure we move forward on the other side of it too. Because he's already talked to their boards and they're willing to.
There's, to begin with, we've got a concept of what the building shape could be like, the addition, but it's a matter of sitting down with the group, understanding really what rooms they want. So there's a process of that that'll take some time, but it's not a huge expense if something changes. If we're gonna start getting into the existing building, look at things there, then that's where it worries me a little bit, because what do you have, if we're gonna get into mechanical equipment, for instance, do you have any documentation of what is there right now for equipment, for airflow in rooms? Normally, a mechanical engineer would design that. They would say so much CFM of air comes into each room. If you don't have any of that, the question is, will that need to be documented? And that requires a company out of Des Moines typically to come up to do airflow tests of each room, to put together a spreadsheet so that there's information about that. Now, I don't know if that's needed yet.
So are you saying that if we don't change the existing building, airflow, HVAC, everything, we may save a lot of money?
Yes, you would.
Okay.
You would, yeah. It's not just the equipment changes, but it's documenting what's there.
Sure.
Getting that put together, yeah. Now, how much is a lot, I can't say. But if you have a concern about the air quality, or wanting to know what's there, or do some improvements, if there's some money associated with it, there's a process to do that. Yeah, that would have to take place. So that's part of building this program. What is it that you want to accomplish? And I know Carly, you'd sent a preliminary list, and so it's just a matter of going through that. Yeah.
I need to bring 2 of those, right? Because we need 2 originals.
I did bring one copy with me.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just in case I needed to look at anything or something.
Okay.
Carla, have you reviewed all of this before?
I have not.
Okay.
It's a lot of words that, most of the time, whoosh.
I've been down an employee, so I've been a little busy.
You sent it on an email, didn't you?
I sent it to you,
Yeah.
yes.
And then you read it all, and then you give a quiz on it an hour later.
In looking at it, it looks like it's pretty straightforward as far as what the responsibilities are, and it spells it out, what to expect and what they should expect from us.
I read through it, and it just seems, most of the parameters are covered.
Typically, these things don't get too deviated. They don't go real crazy.
Cookie cutter.
Yeah. Especially for the size that you have and what you're doing.
So I'm trying to decide, as far as the air quality part of the old part, yeah, I'd like to solve all our problems, but maybe just this addition will help solve some of the problems. I guess, I don't know if it'd be easier to solve those problems in separate buildings, or to combine all the airflow into one unit in the new addition that flows into the new.
I would think it'd make more sense to have 2 separate air systems so
Anytime
that
you zone one unit for several in, it gets expensive.
complicated and,
Yeah, and there's redundancy then too.
Yeah.
If one breaks, goes down, you've got a system still in
Especially
place.
it's open to each other,
Yeah.
And if we're changing out windows, one of the things was windows too. So if we're switching out some operational windows in that old part, I would think that would be,
Do we need to switch all the windows or just some of the offices?
I think some of the
Yeah,
offices.
just a few of them, that would be beneficial, I think.
That's been a really weird controversy as to, a solid window means that you can control the environment, security and airflow. But then you do that, And
Yeah.
it's like, you need that airflow. You want that natural ventilation.
But with the air exchange systems, you shouldn't need it.
Right, you shouldn't. That's just it. I mean, that's what they're designed for, is to make sure that the quality is good, that the amount of flow is right.
But
That's-
our old system does not have air exchange to it, I'm sure.
Probably not, no.
That was
So,
before air exchange.
yeah. So can it be retrofitted in place? Do you have to add another unit? How is that gonna happen? Yeah, that's the big question. So again, it kind of goes back to then, well, what do you have in place, and do you have any kind of documentation as to the amount of airflow?
As far as I know, that building is heating the floor, right?
I believe so.
And air in the ceiling.
Okay,
So it's an attic unit. So then, if you're gonna air exchange in the winter, you got your heat. You'd almost have to exchange air, keep it circulating on a regular
Yeah.
basis, or a timed thing or something where you exchange every so often.
yep, right. Mitchell County, the mechanical engineer that I typically use, Joe Capon, he and I did a remodel at Mitchell County in Osage. They have in-floor heat. They had an air exchanger on the wall that was plugged up. They weren't using it, so they weren't bringing in fresh air. But we took their existing system and revamped it so that it would move air better.
But then
Throughout.
did that, when it exchanged the air, did it also heat the air somewhat? So you didn't have that cold draft.
That's just it, yeah. I mean, their existing system they weren't using, and we didn't bring it back to life. But normally you would actually do a heat exchanger where you're tempering that air.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a draft.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So there's a couple ways we could take a look at it. A separate ducted system or adding something to the current. The biggest thing is with the furnace, think about your house. I flipped my fan on 15 years ago and I've never turned it off in my furnace. It runs constantly. That's the way that you get air circulating the best. And a lot of places, they don't do that. So it's just a matter
And
of
you
seeing.
do that because you don't have an air exchanger in your?
I don't have an air exchanger, but what I'm doing is I'm constantly circulating air, so I get more of an equal temperature throughout the house too. Rather than, like an air conditioner, it's gonna cycle on for a while and then turn off. Well, if I keep the air moving, then whatever it's conditioned will continue to move too, not just be stagnant. So I've just had that on, period,
So
in
when
my house.
cold nights like tonight, I'll take my big house and I'll just turn the fan on. I don't turn the heat on.
Yeah.
It just draws the warm air out of the basement and just keeps moving it around.
Exactly, yeah, same sort of thing. So a lot of commercial properties, we go in and we say, just turn the fan on in your furnace, and it never stays on because people are worried about the energy that it's using. But it's pretty minor in the grand scheme
Well,
of
it'd be
things.
nice if we redesigned that unit in the ceiling to it. It's got a heat exchanger to it, so you're supplementing the floor heat. And we could have a multi-speed, so it's more of a low volume,
Mhm. Yeah.
not a draft.
Right, you could think about a timer, you could think about a control sequence of things, time of day, sure, you bet.
Because
Yeah, exactly.
you can get heating and air conditioning units that have multi-speed.
Yep. Yeah, so that's all part of that initial information to gather.
So is that something we want to have as part of the project then, to look at that
Well, I think we're
unit in
gonna
the ceiling?
need to come up with the most cost-effective way to,
I mean, it's something we could probably just get together with an HVAC person locally, but it wouldn't be part of this grant process.
Yeah, right. So if you want to use the grant, then, all costs associated to document, to get some information put together would be part of the grant payment too, then, yeah.
so because we will be changing walls and configurations in that,
We'll tie into
in the
it.
existing building, so. So,
Room where the current one is.
It's an attic one. No, it's in,
It's on the roof.
it's in a closet, isn't it?
I
I
don't
thought
know.
they had their furnace in a closet.
But it goes up and comes back
Julie's
down.
And it
so-
seems like it's fairly small.
hey Julie, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Where is your
airflow
Air-
unit.
air conditioning unit? Is it in a closet?
You know where my office is? It's right across the hall in a room that's about the size of our public bathroom.
So it wouldn't be that hard to work on in an area like that versus an attic.
Yeah.
No, it's in the maintenance closet.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then you have another room that's,
Yes, the server room has the air conditioner that is on the mounted on the outside of the building.
That's a mini split, isn't it?
that's a,
Yes, I believe that's what it's called, yeah.
Exchange air.
okay. Okay, good, well, that's helpful. So,
If we can, I don't know, how do you handle server rooms? Can you, instead of the mini split, is it beneficial to put a vent in there to?
It depends on the size of equipment, quite frankly. If it's not massive, you could just get some air coming in and just circulating, and that would do a lot. Most of the time, it's just pulling the air out. So not necessarily an exhaust fan, but a louver in the door, for instance, to push air in and then pull it out. Just that circulation can do a lot, even in the winter, for instance. Just the airflow again.
Well, it would be easy in the winter because your fan's running more, but this
Yeah.
time of year, you're not running air as much for heat or air conditioning, so you're not. That's where a timer, just an occasional timer, just to circulate air would probably be beneficial.
I'm guessing it's probably not doing a lot because there's probably not a lot of electronic equipment in there. It's not a bad thing to have.
The reason we had to have that in there is because our server was getting overheated.
It was before. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Servers get super hot, and if you don't have the right circulation in there,
We had the same problem at the
You'll
old
melt it
LEC.
down.
You had to put a mini split in there too.
you have to have a cold air source in there, or your cards are gonna melt in minutes. It's hot, as much heat is generated in those things.
We've got a data mining facility in the area that he uses the heat from that to heat a shop.
Mm.
so was I hearing correctly by just allowing you to line up your guy that can assess this, we can use,
Those
Is-
funds, as long as it's publicly bid and.
will be a better use of our funding.
If there's enough funding.
That's right. Still question marks out there.
And depending on what you end up doing, for instance, again, gathering the information is one step. You can come up with your concept. You could maybe do it as an alternate bid package because it's an isolated building, an isolated component. So you could maybe do it that route, and then if you don't have enough money, you can pick and choose how it's done. Maybe there's a couple things that we could do as alternate prices just to make sure that you're within that amount too.
It seems like it's somewhat of a separate project, but yeah, I think an alternate would be the way to go, so we can pick and choose whether we want to do that.
Yeah.
But then that would also kick in that we have to have it, surveyed by somebody to see what our capabilities are.
Right, and maybe you could even request more money knowing the fact that there's a project there too. If you do a study, get that information gathered, is there the chance of getting more money just to throw in?
This is our ARPA money.
Yeah,
So there's a certain pot of money, this is just a portion of the ARPA money,
gotcha.
good portion of the ARPA money. Then there's other
This is
things that
already
get money
probably-
in there too, so it's like,
Okay,
it's in our control. It all depends on how other fundraising goes for other things.
It definitely has a lid,
mm-hmm,
so.
okay.
That's where I think the alternate would be a good option.
And that's pretty easy to organize, quite frankly.
Okay,
About how much it costs to get somebody up to assess it and see what it would take.
I'm trying to remember, I had it done for a nursing home, which is obviously much larger, and I think that was several $1,000s, so
So it could be a couple thousand.
yeah, something,
Just to
that,
mobilize them and
exactly.
do
Yeah, it's not a massive cost by any means.
On the scale of the project, it's a smaller part of it.
Are we looking to circulate the air just so the air is fresh, or looking to minimize the germs? Bacteria, because they make things that you can put on furnaces, so you don't have to you don't have to bring cold air in all the time. That they're electronic. They got like ultraviolet light or whatever that kills almost 100% of bacteria, from what I understand.
Now, there's studies being done, there's an organization that's actually working on all of this. And
I've read some of that.
from what I'm hearing, that is a component of it, that's a good idea. I think still we're going back to saying fresh air it has to be introduced, but at what level, it's hard to say. There could be the size of the building where an ultraviolet will do just as much. Will opening up windows, providing that ability for the fresh air, does that fall into play of that?
I know bringing in fresh air during the winter, then you drive up your heating costs.
Yep. And that's the problem. We've gone almost full circle as to say, let's make the buildings tighter to save energy, but yet we did that, and then now we're causing issues, and so we're opening the buildings up again. Yeah.
It's almost to the point where it creates mold.
Yeah, that's why in a way, drafty buildings are beautiful.
Yeah, well,
It's sad to say.
I live in a great big old 100-year-old drafty house, so. But it's got all, the old-fashioned windows that you got when it's nice out, especially overnight. Go open them up and get it cooled down, and you don't even have to run air conditioning the next day.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I don't open them up during the winter.
well, I just built a new house and that air exchanger is like my favorite thing. I've never had one in any of my other homes, and it's like, boy, this is
Keeps
nice.
it smelling fresh in there all the
It's
time.
just, it feels different even. It's just, there's no,
As long as you got good filtration on it too.
yeah,
Remove all the pollen and things like that.
it just
Yeah.
feels fresher in there. So, do we need a motion here
To accept the
to accept
contract.
this agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve the public health agreement with SA Architects.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Derby and seconded by Jensvold. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. If you want, I'll try and get a hold of WCTA as soon as possible.
Okay.
Please,
Kind of probably nice is maybe try to get together even the end of next week or something. At least with Julie and Carla, whomever, to talk about the program, to see the building, walk through things. If that works out. But Carla, I'll send you a couple of possible dates. I
Okay.
think for me at least to come up, and we need to, I think, go through, make sure we've got the existing building documented right too.
Okay.
And I was hoping to have Tom do that from a guy.
I'll see if Kevin has any more.
as built. I think the original design isn't what it actually is.
Yeah, I think we found that, yeah. Did you
need
sign?
another
Yeah,
signature?
if you would please, then we got, I'll sign this one. Taken care of.
So Susan, do you want to be a part of that when he comes up to meet with Julie and Carla?
I do, yep. I can actually see if any other board members are interested as well. So you'll have to let me know when you come up with a date, time to meet.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Good. Thank you for your
Yeah,
expertise.
you bet. No problem. Thank you much.
Hey, guys,
Yes.
when we do meet, we have flu clinics in the afternoon, so if we could do it in the morning, that would be better for us down here.
Is there a day of the week that's really better too?
Actually, our flu clinics are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so I know
Monday?
Monday is probably is probably the day. Sorry.
Nope, that's okay. I don't know if I can do it next week, but let me look through my schedule and
Okay.
we'll get something figured out.
I mean, and we can do it in the morning any of the other days, but Monday is all day that we're available.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thanks, Julie.
You bet.
All right. Thank you much. Good to see you too.
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Did it look like Ethan was
Yeah,
waiting
he
to
said
get in?
call him.
Call him?
And that we
Scott
got a
sent an
report
email.
by email from
Mhm.
You
Scott,
can just read it, I guess, and you don't have to.
unless Ethan's got something for us. We could look at it first.
See, the crane is still there on 842, so they must not have sent the box yet.
Heartland and no finish paving today. And did you drive by the G14 W1?
Looks like a Quonset building
Yeah.
out there.
That's what I thought it was. I drove by it and it looked like a big Quonset getting put up on the
On the ground.
filter strip. And it's the dome-shaped
Culvert or,
culvert they're putting together and they're gonna put it in place. It's that.
looks like a building.
Yeah, I mean, they're standing in there, they've got a lift inside the building to get to
Oh,
the
no
top.
kidding.
It's huge.
Hmm.
That's a
Where's
big,
that at?
that's a big
That's
ditch.
my dad's old bin site.
Yeah, okay,
Down there.
that one there? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he did say that they had to assemble that one.
And that place is
Yeah.
changing. They took out 3 bins and they're putting in 3 new ones or 3 used ones.
Yeah.
Got all new concrete in there.
Changing out, isn't it? A couple of those crumpled in the wind a few years ago, I think.
Oh, that was the other side.
Oh, that's the other side. Okay, so,
For 842, they're working on final grading, so, yeah, next week before opening to the traffic. So they must have it set already. Thought about driving, you could drive around their thing, they kind of took down part of the fence. I thought about driving right down there and looking at it, but I thought they might shoot me as a trespasser or something.
So do we have any questions for Ethan?
I don't have any
I don't either.
real questions, I guess.
Can we just move on to drainage then, gentlemen?
You're the chairman, you can do whatever you want.
You've got your,
I think if there's no questions that we have for Ethan,
it's
he
pretty,
would have
pretty
texted
good
something.
list of things he gave us, so.
Yeah,
Yep.
all right. Well,
He
let's
looked
see
like
what-
he was busy too, so.
I saw Chris was waiting out there earlier, but,
Oh, Ethan's here, there he is.
oh,
Look at that.
well, heck.
Were you sitting out there the whole time?
No, I went back downstairs.
Oh,
So we were
okay.
going through the report that Scott sent us.
Oh, okay.
We didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to add or.
No, not
They have the box set on 842?
yet. That got set last week.
Okay, it did. I saw the crane was still there, so I thought maybe it hadn't been set yet. I thought about driving right down there because you can get around their thing, but then I thought I better not.
Yeah. Yeah, actually PCI will be pulling out as of today probably.
Cool.
We kind of okayed everything for the end, and Friday, Yulin Brothers is supposed to patch it. So,
So when did that start? Oh, a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Week ago
Monday?
Monday,
Okay.
and then they had some rain in there, I'm assuming that slowed them down.
Yeah, I think they only got rained out Friday. Was the
Friday.
only day.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, everything looks good there, so it should be open by the weekend.
We were talking about your new building you're putting up off of 160th Avenue there.
Big pipe?
Yeah.
It's a big pipe.
looked like a Quonset.
Yeah,
I need to go by that and see that.
it's definitely a big structure.
When's that gonna get set done?
Well, the goal is to take out the bridge probably tomorrow, and then start digging bottom. And then hopefully next week start putting it in the hole. That one will take a lot more technical backfilling on it because it needs 6 to 8 inch lifts with gravel. So we'll have to haul in backfill for that one.
I had somebody, this is more on drainage, but it got into the right of way over here on 180th south of Bowman.
Okay.
She was talking about a tile hole, which is, I think, in her backyard. It looks like where the drainage tile goes. I'm gonna be getting somebody to look at that. But she said there was an intake in the ditch that had washed out or was in disrepair. I don't know, do we have an intake for inspection in that area? DD 71?
Like in our work orders?
Because it goes right through Feener's yard that we worked on a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's any intakes in so we can see and inspect or not.
I'm not sure on
I
that
was
one.
out there this morning and I looked, I didn't see any on the one side of the road anyway. Maybe it's on the other side and I didn't see it, but it crosses at an angle to the southeast.
Sure.
She sounded like there was a washout. Well, south of where it's supposed to cross, it looked like there was a real depression in the west ditch.
Okay.
Like maybe something had washed out, but whether that's a private tile, I don't know. Maybe you want to just look at that and see.
Yeah, I'd have to go kind of look at it, I guess.
If you look at the, there's, you get past the first 40 that Regenius has, and then you get into that one house, the Jones house has a big, like 2 or 3 lots there.
Okay.
There's a stake, I think it's just north of that stake. There's kind of a ditch through there that comes to your ditch.
Yep.
It's just north of that, there's a depression. There's also another track like this, I don't know if it's something that had dug up at one time and just
Sure.
settled or what.
Yeah, sure could have. I mean, I can look in like previous work orders that have been done in that area to see what's
Yeah.
been done.
But it seems like that's farther south than where the tile would cross, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
If that's where the tile crosses and it's washed out there or something, I don't know. Doesn't look real fresh, like it's been that way for a while.
Okay.
Maybe you should take a look at it. And maybe check the east side and see if there's a
Intake over there.
intake over there to inspect.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
And I'll go address the other part of it.
Okay, anything else for Scott?
Uh,
Ethan, I mean?
Hewlin Brothers is starting, Friday on patching, and then we'll do a bunch of milling next week. Kind of all over the county for that. That'll be another bigger project going on, and paving will be done today, north of Lake Mills. So,
See, that'll open it up to the gun range.
There you go.
There you go.
Suddenly, it looked like they were here another half hour discussing it in the hallway,
Mhm.
so maybe they're getting somewhere.
The Jake breaks wake me up at 3 or 4 in the morning sometimes.
Oh,
So
God.
that's even worse.
It's all about you, Bill.
Yeah, I should be
And
out
you're
there
a number of blocks down the road, aren't
4
you?
blocks from the highway.
Courthouse, think about all the people closer than that.
There's some right on the edge right there. Bob Anderson, that was about Shakey's house, so.
Mhm.
I was like, well, I'll go back downstairs while that was going on. So.
Okay,
Other than that, we got done with our major shouldering, kind of around the Buffalo Center area for the year on that. We're gonna do some spot shouldering right now. And started.
The edge rutting then?
Yeah, edge rutted.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of that.
So we're gonna hit a lot of spots for that. Kind of started stockpiling in Buffalo, hoping to get that done before we get snow equipment on.
just because we can haul a little bit more with the fuel prices the way they are. So. And starting mowing blacktops today again. Hopefully with the frost coming on Wednesday, it kind of stunts everything. So. Seems like if we get a head start on mowing, it seems to be a decent thing.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
All right,
thanks.
thank you.
He's got a lot more hair than Scott.
Sorry about that. Hey, Chris, we're ready for you.
Hard to make that mistake. Yeah,
I
You can really-
understand.
I didn't offend you, did I?
In this day and age, Bill, you always offend.
I'm a square peg in a round world, there's no doubt.
That's exactly right. I just, I don't know. I think I might have to leave this meeting in protest.
Hi.
No?
Good
Morning.
I don't.
The only thing I have is that DD one that Dana Jones called me on. She said she had talked to you a little bit, and then she called me, left a message, and I called her back.
Okay.
Lives Green Acres Drive or whatever out there southwest of the bowling alley. That subdivision. You go south of the bowling alley and you look to the west, those houses.
Oh, yeah, okay, now I'm following you, yeah, sorry.
They're the ones on the cul-de-sac. And it goes, the DD 71 crosses through
Yes, it does.
their properties.
Mhm.
They have multiple lots. And she said there was a tile hole there, so I'm gonna try and get somebody.
Okay, and what was her name?
Dana Jones.
Oh, she called me years ago.
Okay, years ago, okay.
Yep.
Sounded recent, but okay.
Nope, she called me, oh, Dana's the wife, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, she called me and she was going to have Kurt Slugger do it.
Okay.
And then, nothing has ever happened.
Now, she said she had a hard time getting somebody to look at it.
Okay, well
So I
then I
told her
can
I-
get on it,
Well,
yeah,
I told her I'd get a hold of somebody.
okay, yeah,
I gotta get out there and look at it, but I gotta coordinate with her, because they have a dog she wants to have.
oh, okay. Yeah, and I believe I even threw away the petition because it was so old. And it's like, so if she called, we could just start a new one and go?
So the other thing she had for me was between the houses there, or her neighbor,
Okay,
there's a washout. And it must be a private tile that failed.
oh,
Now, we have no provisions for that I know of. That's in county proper, so it's not city. And I don't
that's
know,
their
there's-
deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally their deal.
Told her about all I could do is maybe talk to the neighbor and impress upon that person that it may affect our tile down line if it keeps
Yeah.
washing.
Well, and you would
So
think that they'd
it's a
want to,
liability.
yeah, they'd want to get it fixed. And is it shareable between the two properties, or is it distinctly on one property?
It's on one property, but she's worried it's gonna spread to
Yep,
theirs.
sure.
My guess it's probably a tile that they utilize for their downspout, but I haven't been to look at it.
All right, well, I'll make a new claim petition.
I could probably, if you want the number for it, I can share that with you.
Maybe you can do that after, so we don't just publish it.
Well, I'm not gonna say it, I'm just gonna show it to you, you write it down.
Oh, okay.
Say what, Terry?
Better off down sad.
That might be a violation of open meetings laws. Oh, you didn't show it to us, so.
Huh? There you go. So you can put it on the petition. That's all I had.
Okay. Anything else for drainage? All right. Let's go to open forum. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Anything for open forum today?
Oh, yeah.
I bet there was.
guys need to expand the desk. That's what you need to do. You need to make it
You know,
Just invite you back
we've
up
talked
here.
about it in the past.
Because it seems like, you guys are all scrunched together, but I always thought maybe just make Old Reliable a little bit bigger.
We call July 5th.
We could invite Terry back up
Is
to the
that,
big.
is that a bad joke? You're saying it's,
No,
Too rotund?
I'm not saying it's,
no, I'm offended.
I'm sorry, man, it's a sardine joke. What are you talking about? A bad joke? It's a sardine joke, come on now.
Yeah, big sorry.
Now you're adding.
Yeah, now we're even.
Right, and I texted him on July 6th, and he said he would get it done.
Sometime to Blacktown, I guess.
Anyway. Had it.
So, just so you know, I talked to Matt Harms and Thompson one day.
Yeah?
Impressed upon him how important that project was at the LEC. The building is failing because of it. Well, he didn't realize that. So now you might have a better understanding of the importance of it.
Do that drainage around up there, so we should.
That and concrete,
Yeah.
they forgot about it. Didn't know if they'd get it done this year. That's when I impressed upon the importance.
No, we don't want that wall to fall away.
No,
I mean, that's really inconvenient,
yeah,
especially when you're trying to keep people in.
your general population's in that corner.
The unique jail escape anyway.
They haven't mounted a bracket up there yet, have they, to draw it together?
Not that I know of.
That was the plan, I think, but maybe something to ask Kevin.
I was shocked to find out that they don't tie them together somehow anyway. You would think that they'd have something that like you just run a pin through,
Right.
Kind of like, no, I can't say it. The little things with the dots on that you push together. Lincoln, no, not Lincoln Logs. but
Connects or,
the little plastic things.
Legos?
Legos, thank you.
they just
Always
fit
so
together
helpful,
too.
AJ.
Yeah, well, but they.
I got something to do in the evening.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate that that whole thing took that long
Instead
to.
of Legos, they're like dominoes right now.
Even Legos, if you had them vertical with that, it still pulls apart.
Well, no, they make them where they tie together with little dots. I've seen them. These are the corner pieces.
I haven't gotten that far into it.
Yeah.
So anything else in open forum?
I'm building a spaceship with ones.
Could you hold the noise down?
Down.
Trying to listen to Bill.
Yeah, hanging on every word over here.
Sorry, I ran it. You guys want to just hang on for about 10 minutes? I'm going to get some more of this, and then I'll come back and we'll finish this up.
Yeah, we'll.
Where are we at, Susan?
We are at number 8, consider for approval auditors transfers.
Thanks, Terry.
Did the bids go out? Did you contact people on bids for the recycling waste? Where did we leave that?
I'm gonna put together an RFP, but I have not had time.
Okay, I was just wondering if, does anybody know anything about Clear Lake's Absolute Waste? Are they someone that we're interested in also?
Well, I think they're tied in with North Iowa landfill.
Yeah, the Hancock County, they take it over, take the big stuff like refrigerators or something like that thing. And they take it, they take everything.
So it was just, it was a suggestion that someone had, is that.
There again, we'd have to probably switch districts to North Iowa landfill rather than Waste Management's district.
Okay,
Evidently for Hancock County, it was cheaper than what we were using
okay,
here in Winnebago. And that people could take the big stuff, and it would go, it's in Clear Lake somewhere,
yes,
but you take your big stuff over there and dump that off. But they take everything else, they go to every house.
Yeah. Their district.
Right. And then they also set up recycling centers in 3 towns that you could take your recycling to and dump off. So there's a number of different ways that you can,
So that's in Hancock County, you're talking?
that's in Hancock County.
So Hancock County is 16 townships with 3 sites. For 12 townships.
We were planning more than that. Was it 8 or 9 we were thinking about?
Yeah. 7 or 9.
I mean, once you're in your car, it doesn't take much to drive that a little bit farther.
Well, if you're going to town anyway, most of them are just,
But
forget it.
this is not on the agenda to be discussed, so we better not.
Well, they were
I just
saying,
wondered if
But we're
that,
not gonna make any decisions.
No, we're
It's just
getting into that
information
discussion
sharing.
phase.
Just information.
information.
One thing, if we're gonna do RFP, we should probably look at what's affecting us now is north of town here, Fort City is doing the recycling in the county area. How much are they doing right now? It goes all the way up north of town, I think, or something, past that. So that takes numbers off of our numbers, technically, if they're paying to have it done there. So all the people up at the trailer park and farther out are paying to have it done because they were told they had to. Are you guys up at your station, are you recycling through us or through the city?
we don't recycle,
Okay,
we trash, because we're outside of city limits. In theory. I believe we are, not sure.
then
I haven't seen a sign that says welcome to Forest City by our building, so,
Well, the line is at the cemetery,
oh, okay. Then we're beyond that.
but like the trailer park up there,
Trailer park, yeah, everybody in town pays for a recycling process.
the trailer park's in the county.
Mhm.
And I haven't figured out, is it because they control within 2 miles of town, or how did they make that work?
A landlord might be living in town.
You know, it doesn't matter if he lives in town or if it's the commercial property or the residential property he controls. I have to talk to the city and see what's going on.
All I know is we pay for ours.
I had one resident up there that was concerned.
Well, part of the problem is that, you get one yellow barrel. Well, if you have a family of 4, like my neighbor, you have to have 2 barrels. If you have a family of 5 or 6, like my neighbor, you usually have like 3 barrels. And they won't pick up anything that's outside of the barrels that's plastic or glass.
In our rules are you can get as many 96-gallon totes as you want.
Right.
Rolling ones, Webster's.
Yeah, we don't, ours is a big yellow, you've seen them, big yellow containers with the lids, and at one point in time I was told that because I had gone down to Kansas City for a week, and I came back and I missed the recycling time, so that meant another 2 weeks. Well, I had tons of recycling. They wouldn't pick it up unless it was in another yellow tote.
Do they allow you to take it to the site?
I wouldn't even know where that site is.
Well, it'd be-
Part of the problem is communication, is nobody, to be honest with you, I was kind of stunned that I had to have another yellow tote. Now, they were gracious enough to just come by, pick it up, and I guess trash it, but you don't know where you can take any of the big recyclables. You don't know, I mean, I've got TVs and stuff like that, I don't know what to do with,
You
because
pay a fee probably down at the North Iowa landfill.
more than
And you
likely,
can call City Hall and you can go up there and pay a fee and they'll come to your house and pick it up.
okay. Or I'll do it on the spring cleaning day.
You can do that too.
So thank you for your input on open forum.
Well, no problem, it's just, that's the biggest problem, guys, is people don't know. I mean, we start something, but and this is no offense against anybody in government, don't get me wrong. It's just, we don't know, or it's out of sight, out of mind. It would be nice if there was a means by which it was posted somewhere that says, hey, take this here, take that there, on the website somewhere. If Daisy's watching.
Okay, so we need a motion on the auditor's transfers.
I'll make a motion to approve the auditor's transfers.
I'll second.
Motion by Jensvold, second by Derby to approve the auditor's transfers. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passed. Consider for approval auditor's claims.
Is this the same thing as the semi-monthly county claims?
It's the odd week one because
Week one?
Yes.
we do it twice a month, but this is the long month.
I was gonna say, I didn't see anything as an email.
These are the payroll. Excuse me. Oops. I think most of these are drainage, that's why it's,
They're all, B&W sending in their bills, are they? Or a bunch of them? Oh, this is his.
those are those two.
Didn't they bring the other file cabinet?
What's that?
Didn't they bring the other file cabinet?
They're all the same, different districts.
Yeah, less drainage this time.
How's your health coverage on carpal tunnel?
Doesn't matter, I cured mine without surgery. Here's your stamper.
It's in my briefcase down here. This didn't look like such a stack. Oh, there's more to come.
Mine will probably still be on my desk, even when I need it.
Have you ever used it?
No, we got him right after I was,
You will when you sit
as
here.
soon as I wasn't chairman anymore, then Terry, he decided he was gonna. So the whole time my hands were hurting, I had to do all that signing, he sat there and smiled.
Yours, the ink will be all dried up by the time we get to use it.
The amazing part, I don't think I've ever complained about it.
Well,
Even when he was in a cast, I don't think he complained about it.
This finger cut down the middle.
Which one?
He just smiled and,
So I get to church and there's a professor over at the college that sits across from me at church every week between Gene Field, the veterinarian, and me, and we all share, oh, how'd we come out the week? That's during the meet and greet thing during church. At least we have to put anything in the prayers.
I think this one needs to go back.
Well, didn't get stamped.
oh,
I was distracted.
distracted stamping. There ought to be a law.
Hope that wasn't on camera.
Don't check my cup, it's not here.
Okay. Oh gee, look at the time.
Don't get distracted signing.
Yeah, I promise I won't.
Got to sign what I had to.
I do have an airship. So if you want to move these guys around, you can go ahead.
So
Oh,
this,
I know what you're gonna talk to me about.
this one for, the sick time and comp and vacation, is this an approval or a receipt?
Approval. Except for Lindsay.
Leo?
Leah?
Leo.
Oh. Okay. Still an approval.
I don't know why they put round edges on the top.
Yeah, there's always something else fault.
We should expect no less. So I'll make a motion to approve the payroll claims.
I'll second it.
A motion by Derby, seconded by Jeswell to approve the payroll claims. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I suppose we still gotta do auditor's claims though, too.
Yep.
I'll make the motion to approve the auditor's claims.
I'll second it.
Motion by Jeswell, and seconded by Derby to approve the auditor's claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is that Ricky Brothers?
No,
No?
no, November.
Oh, not, well,
But
Yeah,
we
that
can talk
too,
about
but-
that. We could, yeah,
but that's what I'm
okay.
thinking, there should be some
Yes,
airtime about that.
we should be discussing that. That is very pressing. So, we can, due to circumstances beyond my constraint, discuss it later this afternoon. Or we can discuss it in the morning, whatever, what's best for you.
It really doesn't have anything to do with me. I think,
Okay, that's fine. Let's good. I will contact the responsible parties. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think that's a prudent situation, yes.
So will you or a representative from your corporation be at our thing tomorrow night? Forum?
I regret to inform you that my presence is mandatory.
what form?
Wednesday,
Wednesday night.
EMS?
I'm
Keep
planning,
them not on camera.
I'm planning on coming
Come on now.
over to it.
It's not one that you have to do minutes at or anything, it's
No,
just a forum.
yes.
And Daisy is the facilitator on it.
sorry.
All right, so let's go to 11, consider for approval public purpose statement for election.
Whereas precinct election officials have substantial responsibilities for the conduct and integrity of elections in Winnebago County, and whereas the county's auditor has recommended that recognizing the public service of the precinct election officials is in the public interest. Now, therefore, we find the recognition of public service on behalf of the precinct election officials in the form of expenditures for food, beverages, and tokens of service such as election pins, candy, and items of similar nature are a public purpose. I guess I'll make a motion to that effect to approve the public purpose statement for elections.
I'll second it.
Motion by Derby, seconded by Jensvold for public purpose for elections. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passed.
Good thing we all voted aye because it was already on the sheet.
So let me start over. There's a public hearing, no, public meeting forum for the EMS tomorrow night, the NSB
Yes,
at 6 o'clock?
yes.
Okay.
Um,
I think
It's on that,
I think it's 7
sheet right
o'clock.
there.
7 p.m.
7?
Oh, hold on. Nope,
It's right
6 o'clock, sorry.
It's 6 o'clock.
7 p.m.
No, it
Eastern.
says 7.
Yes, it
I
says
thought it
7,
was at
everybody.
6.
7.
I know.
Oh my,
So
this
it's
is the last one that
conflicting.
was sent out.
I was going to ask you, was that Eastern or Central?
I'll text Daisy to make sure.
See, 'cause I've got a pinochle tournament that I'm at until 7 o'clock, so this is gonna be kind of conflicting here.
It's all about priorities.
Yes, it is. We canceled that hide and seek tournament, so.
Darn.
I know.
Looking forward to that. I was gonna bring treats.
Hide him and try to find him.
Well, let's look at the city, the Forest City.
I took a screenshot of it. I can look too.
Wednesday, September 28th at 7 p.m. That's what it says on the
Never-
city of Forest City also.
All right.
Never doubt the.
I remember
word of
setting
the
these and
IW.
she said she wanted it at 6, but it must have got changed
He
after.
knows all, hears all, and sees all. He doesn't know, hear, and see, he makes
He
up.
doesn't know anything about it.
Send that back over to Mr.
So I will see you guys at 7 o'clock, but if you want to be there at 6, that should be fun.
Well, I probably have to because I gotta get set up.
Yeah,
My problem is, so many times I put it in with a reminder an hour before, so that, so then I'm like, all right, well, my reminder is coming at 6, but it's for a 7 o'clock meeting.
well, what's hilarious is everybody who thinks it's at 6 o'clock is gonna be there at 6 o'clock, which means pretty much everybody will be there at 6, but you gotta wait for that meeting to start at 7.
We definitely need treats.
Did you also hear that Yura passed away yesterday?
Really?
Yes.
Who did?
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah, Yura,
Our first
our canine.
canine.
Oh,
Reds.
yeah, I
Well,
saw
that's
that.
bad for the
That's
kids.
retired.
The pictures
That's
were.
very sad.
How old was she? Not old, was she?
Oh, gosh, she was,
9, 10.
I don't know, she was,
Yeah, I thought she was 9 when she retired. So that was over a year, hardly a year ago we did that.
yeah.
All right, anything
Poor
else,
girl.
guys?
Yeah, that's too bad.
The pictures were compelling. They posted pictures of them saying goodbye.
I think we're done.
Yep.
I think that's it.
Oh, we don't need a motion. We're adjourned.
Yeah. You have the dictatorial powers to end the meeting.
Nobody ever told me I could do that early on.